Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives us more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand the events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Death is coming. As much as the Gentiles have, been dancing around the subject, acting as if they're never going to have to pay, things are going to return to the way things were, things are going to stay status quo. Just because they've hidden scriptures and hidden prophecies doesn't mean that these prophecies and these events will not come to pass. Sister Sylvia was sending me some emails talking about how she believed that the Queen was going to die tomorrow, 9/9, which would add those up to be 18, which could be broken down to 666. But I guess the Queen couldn't wait one more day. She didn't have one more day. And so she passed today. And it's funny to see some of the people and, their reaction to the Queen. They're talking about how she wanted to bring peace and justice worldwide. See, when you are oblivious to your history and oblivious, to the things that your people have done, you can make up whatever narrative you want. See, this is all part of prophecy. A few years ago, I did a video on the eagle with three heads in the book of Second Esdras. We're going to touch on that a little bit today. But when I did that video about the eagle with the three heads, I was talking about how it was a representation of the Vatican being the religious wing of this world order, and England being the financial wing of this world order, and America being the military wing of this, world order, and that one of the heads was going to die. And I talked about how I believe that was America, because remember, and go to Joel 2, and how the Most High is going to sweep them off the lands and take away their power. That would be taking away their military wing, taking away their sword. And like I said, we'll talk about that again in a minute. But today, Elizabeth passed on. And can you just imagine what her spirit is going through right now? See, these Christians are going to try to twist it and, oh, great job. God's going to say good and faithful servant, great job, and this, and that. But I would kind of venture to say pretty more like the rich man and Lazarus. I would venture it's probably going more like that. This world here is going to, is going to be talking about the great things that these rich people have done. All the while, they're going to be oblivious to the history and the things that their country has done to others in order for them to be able to get their blessings. In order for Esau to be able to enjoy the sword, he had to put other people down and control them. Now, we know also with these, with this three-headed sword, or three-headed eagle, they suffered a loss here with the queen, who was the longest reigning monarch. She is gone today. The Vatican telling everyone to bring their money back to the Vatican banks by 9/30, by September 30th. Also, how in 2020, the Pope dropped the name of being the vicar of Christ. So see, it lost that power in 2020, which we know how everything switched in 2020. We start putting all these things together. The longest reigning monarch, gone. The Pope taking away his title of being the vicar of Christ. The Pope also leaving a mandate telling, hey, we want our money back. Give us our money back. America being exposed. Her history being exposed. The people being swept off the land, like it talks about in Joel 2. Them giving away all this money and all this military equipment to get it off the lands here in America. You can see the prophecies of 2nd Esdras popping off the page. And we'll read a little bit about that shortly. So we're going to read a little bit of 2nd Esdras 11. We'll start at 23. Let me go there real quick. Just because you guys have hidden these prophecies don't mean they're not coming to pass. I don't need to go find a Gentile to say that God came and visited me in a dream and these are the things that he told me. Most High left plenty of information, plenty of understanding in these books that you say you do not accept. 2nd Esdras 11 and 23. And there was no more upon the eagle's body, but 3 heads that rested and 6 little wings. Then saw I also that 2 little feathers divided themselves from the 6, and remained under the head that was upon the right side, for the 4 continued in their place. And I beheld, and lo, the feathers that were under the wing thought to set up themselves and to have the rule. And I beheld, and lo, there was one set up, but shortly it appeared no more. And the second was sooner away than the first. And I beheld, and lo, the 2 that remained thought also in themselves to reign. And when they so thought, behold, there awaked one of the heads that were at rest. Namely, it was that was in the midst, for that was greater than the 2 other heads. And then I saw that the 2 other heads were joined with it. And behold, the head was turned, and with them that were with it, and did eat up the 2 feathers under the wing that would have reigned. But this head put the whole earth in fear, and bare rule in it over all those that dwelt upon the earth, with much oppression. And it had governance of the world, more than all the wings that had been. And after this I beheld, and lo, the head that was in the midst suddenly appeared no more, like as the wings. So one of these heads that had all this rule just disappeared, was gone. But there remained the 2 heads, which also in like sort ruled upon the earth, and over those that dwelt therein. So, if America, just like you talk about Joel 2, loses its power, is swept off the land, then there's military power is gone. The sword of Esau is taken away. And then 2 heads remain. Could that possibly be England, the financial wing, and the Vatican, the religious wing? Quite possibly. Okay? So again, let's go 34 again. I'm just reading it right now. You guys can find now in 2nd Esdras 11. We're on 34 right now. But there remained the 2 heads, which also in like sort ruled upon the earth, and over those that dwelt therein. And I beheld, and lo, the head upon the right side devoured it that was upon the left side. Then I heard, then I heed a voice, which said unto me, Look before thee, and consider the thing that thou seest. And I beheld, and lo, as it were a roaring lion chased out of the wood. And I saw that he sent out a man's voice unto the eagle, and said, Hear thou, I will talk with thee. And the highest shall say unto thee, Art not thou it that remaineth of the four beasts, whom I made to reign in my world, that the end of their times might come through them. And the fourth came and overcame all the beasts that were past, and had power over the world with great fearfulness. Okay? And over the whole compass of the earth with much wicked oppression. And so long a time dwelt he upon the earth with deceit. For the earth hast thou not judged with truth. For thou hast afflicted the meek, thou hast hurt the peaceable, thou hast loved liars, and destroyed the dwellings of them that brought forth fruit, and hast cast down the walls of such as did thee no harm. There's your other nations who got their chance to rule and reign. And these are the actions that you guys have taken upon the meek. You went around raping, robbing, and murdering and stealing, changing history, changing traditions, changing everything. Okay? To people who did not do you any harm. Therefore is thy wrongful dealing come up into the highest, and thy pride unto the mightiest. Just because you guys want to ignore all your actions, all the things you've done, ignore your history, all those actions have gone up to the Most High. The highest also hath looked upon the proud times, and behold, they are ended, and his abominations are fulfilled. Your prideful times are done. Your proud times are done. Your abominations are fulfilled. And therefore appear no more, thou eagle, nor thy terrible wings, nor thy wicked feathers, nor thy malicious heads, nor thy hurtful claws, nor all thy vain body, that all the earth may be refreshed, and may return, being delivered from thy violence, and that she may hope for the judgment and mercy of him that made her. Because the Most High is going to refresh the world. That's what's on point. That's what's on deck. Not you guys getting raptured away from the mess you made. Okay, and you can find this in 2nd Esdras 11. You guys can read that also on your own. Now, we're also talking about, you're seeing these videos about the elites just now all of a sudden, they're all running, going to their bunkers, trying to hide. And we got a little information on that we're going to get into right now. Let's see here. Just going to move. Talking about, we talk about them hiding in the clefts of the rocks, hiding underground. They're deep underground military bunkers. We're going to get into that because these places were already built. See, a lot of people want to believe that they built these tunnels and they built these underground cities and things like that. But see, that another secret that's been hidden is that these places were already in existence. And that's what we're going to be starting to touch into also. So you can find a lot more truths in the Bible, but you got to go and do some more research to get more understanding about certain things. So let's take a look here, Revelation 6. We'll start at 12. And I beheld when he had opened the sixth seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs, when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. And the kings of the earth, and the great men, and the rich men, and the chief captains, and the mighty men, and every bondman, and every free man hid themselves in the dens and in the rocks of the mountains, and said to the mountains and rocks, fall on us, and hide us from the face of him that sitteth on the throne, and from the wrath of the Lamb. Okay? For the great day of his wrath is come, and who shall be able to stand? I'm starting to think like If you remember watching the movie 2012, remember how, the people who had paid all this money to be able to get on the ark, they were getting their call telling, hey, it's time. It's time for you to, to leave and to get out to these certain areas. I'm sure, in my opinion, things like that are probably going on. But they're not getting onto an ark. They're trying to go underground. They're trying to get into these underground caverns, as best that they can in order to hide from the Most High. Talk about this book right here, Rainbow City and the Inner Earth People by Michael X. Talking about saucers from inner Earth. So we're going to start, you can read the top part on your own, but we'll go over down where it says, if so, and a wealth of evidence now begins to shout in quite a loud voice that it is so, many of those unidentified flying objects we call flying saucers may indeed be coming from someplace inside this very Earth, a place previously unsuspected by most of us because of two things. One, the difficulty of getting there. Two, science on Earth hasn't given us any reason to believe such a place exists. Like I said, we always got to understand that we got to, learn everything all over again. Look, did the ancients know about these kinds of things before? Did the ancients have these kinds of concepts before? Let's find out. Fortunately for us, deeper students of life, there is one other source of information we can turn to. It's known as occult science, which simply means hidden science. And just think, who's doing all the hiding? We already know. It is a great body of knowledge commonly unknown to most people. But as you probably realize, that secret knowledge derived from the teachings of ancient races really isn't the least bit secret to those of us who like to explore. One very unusual hidden teaching of the ancients pertained to the inner earth. According to Duriel, who is the highly respected founder of the Brotherhood of the White Temple in Sedalia, Colorado, ancient teachings have it that the earth is hollow and inhabited. In Duriel's book, The Inner Earth, he describes the inner earth according to ancient wisdom teachings. The ancients say that only the outer crust of the earth is subject to heat, okay, from a layer of hot lava near the surface. Volcanoes are due, okay, to that hot layer. But go down into the earth 150 miles, and what happens? No more uncomfortable heat. Now it's quite comfortable in temperature, and we see a vast system of caverns and tunnels. It is said that a series of great caves and channels is to be found inside the earth, just below that belt of hot lava. One of those channels completely encircles the earth inside, so that you could ride all around the inside of the world through that channel and come back to the point where you started from. Going deeper below those caves and channels, you'd come to some colossal room caverns, some so big, Doriel states, that a whole city could be lost within its huge spaces. Okay? But down further than those big rooms is the fascinating part. We now enter the deepest inner circle of the earth. Here is a tremendous hollow space. and in the exact center of that hollow space, floating freely, you would see what looks like a small version of our sun. It's a central globe or sun inside the earth, and of course it energizes the inner earth. So it's this kinds of things, just kind of to think about, that the ancients knew, that our ancestors knew. They had this information, and it's been hidden. Okay, and you guys can check that part out right there. I'll leave the rest of you guys to check out. Well, I'll skip down to the bottom. Admiral Richard E. Byrd discovered a mysterious land beyond the South Pole during his 1947 exploration. He called it the center of the great unknown and the most important discovery of all time. What did Byrd mean by that statement? Was he telling us, I have found a great doorway leading into the interior of the earth? A whole new world exists there. This is a couple diagrams here of what they think here the inner earth looks like. The two diagrams above appeared in a book titled A Journey to the Earth's Interior. It was published in 1929 by Marshall B. Gardner. Diagrams show the Earth as a hollow sphere with polar openings and a small central sun. And like I said, they know about a lot of this stuff. If you guys watch the Godzilla movies, I was talking about one of my brothers, and we talk about how Godzilla was using tunnels to like quickly pop up in different areas of the world. If you remember that part, we talk about the part also when Godzilla going against King Kong, and King Kong actually went into the Hollow Earth. Is either getting these ideas all on their own? Of course not. Aquaman, when he goes and fights that Kraken, he goes into the Hollow Earth where there's sunlight, water, all these things inside of the Earth. So they got all this information. They put it in movies. Most time makes them put them in there. So as he gives us our information and our knowledge, understanding back, he confirms it through these different, these movies and things that they're putting out and letting us see. They're not coming up with this stuff on their own. Okay? So it kind of makes sense that, in 2012, they're talking about these arcs and they're going to be, they're going to make it over, they're going to stay on top of the water and everything else. And once everything kind of calms back down, they're going to go and repopulate the earth again. Yeah, that's not how this is going to go. Most High has different plans. Okay? So kind of, because in Revelation 6, that's how they're trying to get inside the earth, how they're trying to go underground, how they're trying to hide from the Most High. And what was crazy was that when the Spanish got here, they told the same thing. They asked Moctezuma the same thing. Are you going to go and run? You can't go and run into your mountains and hide from us. You can't get away from us. That's what the Spaniards told Moctezuma. Because they knew, they were probably aware of some of these, of these tunnels, things like that. But since, we were at the point where we were going into captivity, they knew that, we couldn't get away from them. We would not be able to escape from them. So it's kind of ironic they would actually say some stuff like that, But, as you start hitting them with these Christians and Catholics and these people in these different religions with these facts, they have no comeback. All they're going to give you is this, that Christian look when you start hitting them with facts, and they got no response. When you start seeing, these concepts put into movies, and they have no response. Because they've been, portraying themselves as being so smart, so on top of things. But as you can see, things are not working out the way that they say. You're seeing, these power structures, being destroyed. The base of these power structures, the base of these three heads of the eagle, being shaken. You see the death of the longest reigning monarch today. You see the Pope saying he's not the vicar of Christ anymore. We want our money back. You see the United States falling apart. Give them games in order to keep them from, chasing after the truth. Most don't want the truth anyways because it's probably too scary to handle at this point. That's why the Most High is bringing shame upon these other nations right now. So we're going to talk about more of these new concepts and things like that. Like I said, the Bible confirms it, confirms these things. These other historical, books confirm a lot of these things as well. These tunnels that connect worldwide. I said there's a lot of information, a lot of things that are happening that the Most High is now bringing to our attention and connecting the dots. All praise, it's the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who was the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.